Yeah. So chemical bonding, right? Now, before starting this chapter, we have to understand the basic definition of bond. Okay. What is the meaning of bond? Can anyone tell me what is the meaning of bond? What is the meaning of bond? If I have to ask, right, in a layman term, that what is bond? Yes, exactly, Samarth. Okay. Bond is actually nothing but attraction. That's it. It's a force of attraction or just attraction. Okay, right? That's the definition of bond in layman term. Whenever two molecule or two atom, right, attract each other, okay, attract each other, they come closer, okay, and because of that force of attraction, they develop a relation, okay, right, and that is called your bonding, okay. The mutual attraction of atom or molecule, right, is called your bonding. Now that attraction can be because of multiple methods, okay, because we know that molecules are attracted because of charges, right? They are attracted because of charges or what? Sharing. Okay. So there are two ways in which an atom will be attracted by another atom or a molecule, either because of charges, development of charge, or because of sharing of electron. Okay. So when we talk about bonding, I can say that, right, it is the ability, or it is basically your force of attraction between two atoms or molecules because of gaining, losing, or sharing of electrons to attain stability. Okay, right? Or you can just say it is gaining, losing, or sharing of electron to attain stability. We have already studied about these things in class 10th. Okay, the type of bond. Now, when we talk about type of bond, so we have studied two type of bond till class 10th, which is my ionic bond and covalent bond. So I can say that if the force of attraction or two molecules or two atoms, okay, attract each other because of losing or gaining of electron, then the bond formed is called your ionic bond. Okay, right? So what is ionic bond? The bond formed by loss or gain, right? Loss and gain, sorry, of electron is called your ionic bond. Okay. What is covalent bond then? Covalent bond is the bond formed by sharing of electrons, right? Now my question is this: why would an atom will try to give electron or accept electron or share electrons? That should be my problem, right? Why? Okay, now just take an example. Okay, just take an example. Suppose you have physics and maths book, but you don't have chemistry book. Okay, and the second person have physics, maths, and two chemistry book, right? Then obviously one person is having one less book and second person is having one more book. Okay, so in order to have equal books, in order to have all the books to study, right, the first person will have tendency to borrow the books from the second person, and the second person will give its book to the first person. So in the same way, there's something called octet rule. Okay, now every molecule, atom, compound, whatever exists in this universe have a natural tendency to attain stability. It's a natural tendency. Okay, even we want to attain a stability, na? Right? Why we study? To have a good job, right? A good life, to have a stable life. Okay, so everything in this universe have a tendency to attain stability. Okay, and when we talk about atoms or molecules, then how do they attain stability? By having an octet configuration or inert gas configuration. Okay, and what is this inert gas configuration or octet configuration? It's having 8 electrons in outermost orbit, right? Outermost subshell, you can say, or outermost shell. Okay, or having inert gas configuration. Having inert gas configuration, that's your octet configuration. Okay, now suppose if I'm having an atom, suppose if I'm having an atom with 11 electrons, just assume sodium, just 11 electron, and the closest inert gas configuration is of neon, which is ns2, or sorry, 2s2, 2p6, 1s2 I'm missing, right? Okay, because I'm just writing the outermost orbit. I'm just writing the configuration of outermost orbit. Okay, now when we talk about sodium, okay, I hope everyone know electronic configuration. So for sodium it is 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. Okay, now I can clearly say that sodium have one extra electron, okay, from its inert gas configuration. So obviously sodium will have tendency to lose electron to achieve its inert gas configuration. Okay, now in the same way, when we talk about chlorine, so chlorine have 17 electrons, and the closest inert gas is argon, right, which has 18 electron. So obviously for chlorine, it will have tendency to gain 1 electron to complete its octet. Okay, right? So this is your octet theory. Any atom can either gain electron or lose electron or share. Now the question is, when will an atom share its electron? So just take the example of carbon. Okay, carbon, right? So best example is carbon. Carbon is having 4 electrons, so obviously it will have very less tendency to give electron or take electron. Okay, because neither its ionization energy is very less nor electron affinity is very high. Okay, so obviously atom like this will have tendency to share electron. Okay, right? So I can say that atoms having 3, 4, 5 electrons in their valence shell will have tendency to form covalent bond. And when we talk about electronegativity, we studied that if the electronegativity difference between two atoms, okay, is more than how much? 2.3, right? Then only the bond is ionic, okay, with some exceptions obviously. Okay, so I hope all of you understood what is octet theory, what is basic of ionic bond and covalent bond. Then we'll study ionic bond, right? So I told you ionic bond is generally formed, right, between atoms which have tendency to gain electron and lose electron. Okay, so obviously the atoms or the elements which have tendency to lose electrons are your metals, and the elements which have tendency to gain electron are your non-metals. So ionic compounds are generally formed between metals and non-metals, right? Now when we talk about the conditions, just think about it, right? If I'm talking about two elements which are forming ionic bond, So one should have high tendency to lose electron. By high tendency of losing electron, it means the electronegativity difference should be high. So the first condition is the electronegativity difference should be high, right? Because if electronegativity difference is high, there is more possibility for the development of charge. Okay. Second, now the metal should lose electron quickly, right? Okay. So obviously, if it has high tendency to lose electron, then its ionization energy should be low. So the second point is low ionization energy of metal. Low ionization energy of metal, right? Okay. Now, electron affinity, obviously the other element should have high tendency to gain electron. Okay. And how come it will have high tendency to gain electron? When the electron affinity will be high. So these are the three conditions for ionic bond to form. I hope everyone is getting this, right? I'm teaching very slowly so that everyone can understand. Okay, right? Anyone have any doubt in that? No, right? These things we have already covered in class 10th. Okay. Now, what do you think about the property? When we talk about the property, what do you think? What are the properties? So when we talk about the properties, generally what comes in our mind is polarity, melting point, boiling point, right? All these things. So yes, we will discuss the same thing. So the first thing is type of bond. Okay. So this type of bond is non-directional because it is due to charges, right? And charge attract the other charge from all direction. Okay, so it is non-directional. There's no fixed direction of attraction. Okay, right? That's the meaning of non-directional. For example, S subshell. S subshell is also non-directional now, whereas P subshell, D subshell are directional. When we talk about PX, it will attract in X direction. Okay, same with D subshell. So I can say that P subshell and D subshell is directional, but S subshell is non-directional. In the same way, when we talk about ionic compounds, okay, so obviously the cation or anion have tendency to attract electrons, right, or attract atoms from all the direction. Okay. Second, since it is non-directional, right, there's no geometry as such. Okay, there's just two atoms attracted to each other. There's no geometry. So we don't have to worry about geometry. Okay. Third, since the attraction is due to actual charges, okay, right, the electric force of attraction, right, the electrostatic force of attraction is high. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, these are the properties of any compound only. Okay, right. Fourth, it is highly soluble in polar solvents because, write it down, like dissolve like. Okay, polar compounds. What are polar compounds? Polar compounds are those compounds which can have polarity. Okay, either it's because of high electronegativity difference or because of ions. Okay, right? Got this? So ionic compounds are polar. These charges, right? Okay. So ionic compounds are polar. And we know that like dissolve like. So polar compounds or polar molecules, right, are dissolved in polar solvents such as H2O. We'll talk about solvents later. Okay. There's a small topic on solvents and solubility. Okay. So see, second property is geometry. Geometry means shape. Okay, shape of the molecule, right? When we talk about covalent compounds, they have specific shape, linear, tetrahedral, trigonal, because the bonding are in a fixed direction. Okay, right? But when we talk about ionic compound, the bonding is not in fixed direction. Because the attraction is throughout the region. Okay, right? Hence, there's no geometry, right? Or we cannot decide the geometry. Got this? Nishita, Sneha, Kaishma, got this? Okay. Now, because of strong attractive force, because strong attraction, right? They have high melting and boiling point. Okay, right? And due to that, the intermolecular force of attraction will also be less. Sorry, intermolecular force of attraction will be high. Intermolecular space will be less. If intermolecular space is less, then they generally exist in solid state. Okay, and we know that since they are ionic, they have charges, they can move, right? And if they can move, then they can conduct electricity in molten state, by the way. Okay, because ionic compounds break in ions only in solvent or molten state. Okay, right? Either molten or aqueous state means with water as a solvent. Okay, now they're represented by empirical formulas. Yes, whatever we have written till now, NaCl, MgCl2, it's all empirical formulas. Even covalent compound is written in empirical formulas, so it's property common to both. Okay, and they are generally exist in lattice, right? What is lattice? We'll study in detail. There's a whole chapter based on that. Okay, ionic compound generally exists in a crystal lattice, in a crystal form, which is a shape of combination of atoms. Okay, right? So that we have to study at last. There's a chapter called solid state, which used to be there in class 12th, but it is now scrapped from class 12th, or it's scrapped from CBSE. Okay, but I don't know that will it come in JEE mains or not, because in this year it is coming. Okay, from next year it's not sure. Okay, so these are the properties of ionic compound. I hope all of you have understood this concept. Yes or no? Easy, right? Okay, then covalent compounds. When we talk about covalent compounds, so first thing is it is formed by sharing of electrons, right? Sharing of electrons between two atoms or molecules, or atom and molecule, right? Now the condition for sharing, what do you think? There should be either scarcity, right, and excess. Okay, so it can form in two cases, right? So the first case is, I can say that suppose we have person A and person B, right? Now person A is having electron deficient, which means that, what's the meaning of electron deficient? Okay, so person A should have unpaired electrons, right? So suppose it is having two unpaired electrons. Okay, and B is also having two unpaired electrons. Okay, both are having two unpaired electrons. Then they will share these electrons with each other. Okay, right? Sorry, not two unpaired electrons. Wait, let me guess. Four unpaired electrons in each. Okay, so yeah, so none of them have octet configuration. A also needs two electron, A also needs two electron, B also needs two electron. Okay, so what will happen is A will lend its electron to B, and B will also lend its electron to A, right? But they won't give it completely, right? The electrons of B belongs to B also, and it is shared by A. Okay, so in that case, I can say that A will also have 8 electrons, B will also have 8 electrons. Okay, got this, right? So covalent bond is formed between two half-filled atomic orbitals, right? So this is half-filled atomic orbital. This is atomic orbital. This whole is your suborbit. So either it is formed by two half-filled orbitals, right? Overlapping of half-filled orbitals, right? Or between two nonmetals. Okay. Now condition. When we talk about condition, right? Condition should be opposite of ionic, right? Same as that. So in this case, electronegativity should be less, electronegativity difference should be less, ionization energy should be more, and electron affinity should be less. Got this? Yes, right? Okay. So Samya 5, 6, and 7, right? It's the property of strong attraction. If two molecules are attracting each other or have strong force of attraction, right, then obviously it will have high melting and boiling point, because the intramolecular force of attraction is more, then melting and boiling point is more. If intramolecular force of attraction is more, then intramolecular space is less, and they generally exist in solid state. And when we talk about ionic compound, right, they exist in ions in their molten state or aqueous state, hence they can conduct electricity. Okay, that's 5, 6, 7. Okay, right. Now from going onwards, right, whenever you miss anything, right, I'll just complete it at the end. Okay, because it breaks the flow of the class. Okay, so if you get disconnected because of some reason, just wait for the end of the class. After that, I'll explain all the missed out portion once again. So yeah, so covalent bonds, condition. Okay, so when we talk about condition, we studied that the condition is opposite of ionic, ionic bond. Obviously it should be opposite now, because covalent bond is formed by the sharing of electron, which means the atom either cannot give or take electron, or will have less tendency to do so. Okay, and why they have less tendency? Because the ionization energy would be high, right? The electron affinity would be low, and the electronegativity difference would be less. Okay, right? Now when we talk about property, now since it is sharing, sharing is occurred by overlapping. Overlapping, we'll study that topic in detail. What is overlapping, right? So for now, you just have to understand it is a method of sharing. Okay, for example, when you meet someone, right, you shake hand, means you overlap your hand with each other, right? Okay, it's a way of sharing your courtesy or your feelings, right? Right? When you respect someone, when you greet someone, you just shake hand. Okay, now we don't shake hand because of this corona and all, we just do namaste and all, right? But you can say that when two person shake hand, the hands overlap with each other, right? In the same way, you can just imagine it the same way. Okay, when two atoms want to share the electrons, the atomic orbital will overlap with each other. Okay, and that process, right, is directional. Okay, right? Because obviously you can shake hand in a specific manner only, right? Anna, you cannot shake hand with random gesture. Okay, there's a specific orientation for that. So I can say that due to this, covalent bonds are directional. Okay, because overlapping is directional. Okay, so first is property. It decides geometry of molecule and have specific shape because of specific orientation in overlapping. Okay, so that's your first point, right? And second point. Okay. Now third, since the force of attraction is less than ionic bond, the boiling point and melting point would be less than ionic bond. Now this is general case. There will be exceptions. For example, diamond. Diamond in itself is an exception for that. Okay, so it's general property. It's not hard and fast, there will be some compound which will have higher melting and boiling point. Fourth, right? Now, as we talk about polarity, Samya, focus on this, right? Same as eighth property. Okay, we know that when we talk about polarity, what is the meaning of polarity? It means development of charge. Okay, so if I'm having AB, okay, now if it is ionic bond, so it will be A plus and B minus, and they will be attracted due to electrostatic force of attraction. But when we talk about covalent bond, right, then AB, we will have delta plus and delta minus because of electronegativity difference. Now tell me this, out of these two, which will be more polar, in ionic or covalent one? Tell me. Anyone? Ionic, right? It's basic common sense. In ionic compound, there's exact actual development of charge, whereas in covalent compounds, there's partial development of charge which may or may not occur, right, depending on electronegativity difference. For example, if I'm having uni atomic molecule like O2, OO, okay, so obviously both atoms are same, so there's no electronegativity difference, hence there won't be any charge. Got this, right? So I can say that ionic compounds are more polar as compared to covalent compounds, and because of that the solubility in polar solvents is less. Now when we talk about solvents, right, what is the meaning of solvent? We know that, right? We studied one whole chapter in class 7. Solvent, right, dipole moment, right, is the property associated with this charge separation. Okay, for example, when we talk about AB, okay, A delta plus, B delta minus, okay, then dipole moment is a physical quantity, right, which is associated with these two charges and the separation between them. So dipole moment is given by charge into distance between them, right? Dipole moment, dm, just write dm. Dipole moment is charge into distance between them. Okay, any charge, it may be covalent, it may be ionic, right? Makes sense, right? And it is a vector quantity. बस इतना ही जानना है. It's a vector quantity, right? So it can be added, subtracted vectorally. You cannot just add it algebraically. Okay. For example, we'll study dipole moment in detail, by the way. Okay. So for now, you just have to remember, if there's more charges, right, there'll be more dipole moment. Okay. Any issue in that? Polarity, that's it, right? If dipole moment is more, right, you can say polarity is more. See, covalent bonds, right? It's not covalent bond, it's covalent compounds. So covalent compounds, right, are generally soluble in organic compounds because both are non-polar or less polar. Okay, but there's no hard and fast rule, there's always an exception. Okay, so yeah, so since in covalent compound the force of attraction is less, what do you think about melting and boiling point? It's less, right? Force of attraction less, intermolecular space more. If intermolecular space is more, then what is the general state of existence? Liquid or gases. So most of the covalent compound exist in either liquid and gaseous state. Now this is generally and most, not all. You have to focus on that. Okay, right? And since they are less polar, right, they have less tendency to break into ions, they are bad conductor of electricity. Got this? Everyone got this point? right? Samya, it got covered? Everyone? Yes or no? Okay. Many students are having issues, I guess. Around five, six students have left the classroom. Okay. So see this. Okay. Right. Now these are the some metals, right, which are forming covalent bonds, right? So you should be like, sir, is it an exception? No, right? Now that was one special topic, right? Now that is called as polarization and polarizing power. Okay, polarization power, right? We will take one complete class on that, but we will just give a basic idea about what is this property. Now in last chapter we have studied that every covalent compounds have ionic property, a bit of ionic property because of electronegativity, and every every ionic compound have bit of tendency of covalent property. Okay, now that property is actually called as polarizing power and polarizability, right? Means when we talk about NaCl, right? So Na is having plus charge, having minus charge, right? Now I can say that if I'm having mx, m plus and x minus, okay. Now since the electronegativity of m plus will become high now after breaking down into ion. After breaking down into ion, it will be more, right? And the attracting tendency will also be more. Okay, so what this ion will do, right? This ion will have tendency to attract this negative charge, right? Okay, it will attract. So if we have electron cloud like this, m plus and x minus, so it's an electron cloud, and this is suppose the electron cloud of mx. So usually it would be spherical, right? But because of the attracting tendency of m plus, okay, so the electron cloud of x minus will shift toward m plus, same as electronegativity, okay. So it will become like this, m x minus, so it will be bit toward m also, okay, bit toward m also, right? So I can say that the electron cloud will try to shift toward your cation, okay. Because of electron deficiency in cation, it has tendency to attract the electron cloud of anion, okay. And that tendency, that power, right, is called as polarizing power, okay. Polarizing power means कोवेलेंट कंपाउंड्स आयनिक कंपाउंड को पोलराइज कर देने का, ठीक है, राइट? एनी इश्यूज? So what is polarizing power? It is the tendency of cations to attract the electron cloud of anions toward itself, right? That is your polarizing power. It's of cation, okay. And what is polarizability? It's reverse, right? It's the tendency of anion to let its electron cloud be polarized, okay, right? Got this? Okay, this is not exactly like covalent bond, right? But because of attraction tendency, right, it will have the tendency to attract the electron cloud, same as electronegativity. Okay, so that is called your polarizing power and polarizability. We'll study that in detail. Okay, but you just have to remember, right? Now suppose you have Li plus, Na plus, K plus. Which of these three ions will have highest polarizability? Sorry, highest polarizing power, right? Among these three cations, which is having highest polarizing power? What do you think? You just have to think. Yes, Wes. Right, correct. Very good. Yes, Karishma. See, obviously, when you go from top to bottom, right, the attracting tendency decreases now, right? Respective attracting tendency, obviously, right? The answer should be Li plus. Okay, because the attracting tendency of Li plus will be more. Okay, right? You'll get to know the application of this when we'll study solubility. Okay, so these are the examples in which they are bond between metal and non-metal, right? Still, it is your covalent bond, right? See, when you talk about Li plus, the size also less and respective attracting tendency is more. Okay, now if sorry, attracting tendency is more, right? Then obviously its polarizing power would be more. So question would be like this, right? LiCl, NaCl, KCl, right? Which of these three, okay, will be having more covalent character? Tell me this. More covalent character. LiCl. Yes, right? Because you can think like that also now. Top to bottom, metallic character increases, non-metallic character decreases. So obviously, right, electronegativity decreases. So the top element of a group, okay, right, will have small size, comparatively high effective charge, right, with respect to size. Okay, obviously it's not about charge, value of charge, it's about size also. Okay, makes sense? Somewhere got it? Got this? Okay, so yeah, now before clearing any other topic, we have to know how to form the structure of few ions. Okay, especially in covalent bond, right? For example, HCl, O2, N2. Everyone know that. Now, when we talk about sharing, now sharing or bond, right? Especially covalent bond is represented by small dash or line. Okay, so if I'm having H dash Cl, it means one sigma bond is there. Single bond is called a sigma bond. It's a name given. Then if we having O2, so O needs 2 electron, right? So what it will do is O is having 2 electron and this O is having electron, right? Configuration of O will be like this. We have solved these kind of problems in class 10th, right? Lewis dot structure. So if this O will need 2 electron, so it will take electron, second electron of first and second electron of second oxygen. And oxygen will also take 2 electrons of first electron, right? So these 2 electrons are shared between each other. So it will be driven by 2 lines. Out of these 2 lines, One is called sigma bond and this other is called as pi bond. Got this, right? Same with N2. Now these are bimolecular compounds, so it's fine, right? We have only two atoms, so it can be easily drawn, right? But what if we have more than two atoms? Okay, then you have to follow some rule. The first rule, right? The first rule is you should have one central atom, because दो इलेक्ट्रॉन शेयर हो रहा है, दो इलेक्ट्रॉन शेयर हो तो ऑब्वियसली डबल बॉन्ड होगा ना, राइट? तीन होगा शेयर तो ट्रिपल बॉन्ड होगा, ठीक है? Now out of these two we have third kind of bond, right, which is called as coordinate bond or dative bond, right? Now what is coordinate bond? So till now we have studied that we have two type of elements, right? One who wants to give or take, second who wants to share. Okay, now obviously there are third type of elements which have its octet configuration complete, right, but have some extra electron, and second element need only two electrons to have its complete octet configuration. So in that case their electron overlap with each other and the bond form is called coordinate bond form, right? Coordinate bond. What is a coordinate bond? It is the bond formed by, right, one electron deficient element having 6 electron in its outermost orbit and one element having lone pair, right, in its outermost orbit. Okay, for example, right, just see the example of NO3 minus, right? Wait, yeah, so this is the condition of formation. I told you electron deficient and one atom should have lone pair, right? So vacant atomic orbital means electron deficient. Fulfilled means, what does fulfilled means? Means it will have lone pair. Okay, so suppose I take example of NO2, N double bond O, NO2 minus, right? O minus. So this is the structure. But suppose if I'm drawing the structure of NO2, NO3 minus. So N double bond O minus, nitrogen cannot form more than 3 bonds in general case. It can form 4 bonds, but usually it won't form more than 3 bonds, right? So the fourth bond will be a coordinate bond because octet of N is already fulfilled. By making this bond, right, by making this 3 bonds, octet of nitrogen is already filled, right? So what it will do is, if its octet is already completed, it will have tendency to give its lone pair to the electron deficient element. Okay, now that bond, the bond represented by arrow, is called your coordinate bond or dative bond. Condition: the accepting element should only have 6 electrons. Got this? Everyone got this? Just raise your hand. If you got this, just raise your hand. Okay, so see the example. AlCl4 minus, AlCl4 minus. I'll give you example, right? See AlCl4 minus. So we know that AlCl3 is your covalent compound. AlCl3 is your covalent compound. So Al will have, so write down the configuration of Al first. Okay, write down the configuration of Al. So it will be 13, right? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, right? Then 3p1. Okay. Now, usually when we talk about covalent bond, then there's something called ground state and excited state. So this is the ground state of aluminium. This is the ground state of aluminium. Okay. So yes. So excited state would be this 1s2. So I'm not writing the first or second subshell. Okay, I'm just writing the first and second orbit. I'm just writing third orbit. Okay, so 3s2 3p1, right, can be written as 3s1 3p2. Why? When we talk about 3s2 3p1, it is something like this. Okay, one unpaired electron, but here we have three unpaired electrons. So obviously one electron of 3s, right, got excited and went to one atomic orbital of p subshell, right? Now tell me this Al have 3 electrons. After sharing, it will have 8 electrons. So obviously this Al will need 2 more electrons, right? This Al will need 2 more electrons. So this Cl minus, which have complete octet and it has lone pair also, it will just share its lone pair to chlorine, aluminium. Now this type of sharing is called as coordinate bond. Okay, this type of sharing is called as coordinate bond. Okay, Samya, you understood now? Chulika, both of you understood? Okay, what you didn't get, Karishma? See, covalent bond you understood, ionic bond you understood, right? Now suppose there are two person. Suppose there are two person. Okay, one is having all the books. One is having physics, chemistry, maths book, all the three books. But okay, sorry, my net got disconnected. That's why. Okay, now it's fine, right? Okay, so suppose there's one person A which is having all three books. A is having all three books, and who is this stupid person? Okay, so I can say that A is having all the three books, right? But B is missing one book, right? Okay, just think about this, right? Just think about this. Okay, now what this A will do, it will share its maths book with B, but this math book also belongs to A. Okay, means this math book, right, is shared with B, but A is not sharing anything with B, right? In covalent bond, I'll just see the example, right? Show you the example. In covalent bond, this will happen. Okay, A is having physics and chemistry book, it doesn't have maths book. B is having maths and physics book, it doesn't have chemistry book. So they'll both share one book with each other, right? In ionic compound, this will happen. Physics, chemistry, two maths book, right? So it will give one extra book to B. Okay, right? Got this? See the example. See the example. A is having its octet configuration full, right? It doesn't need any electron to have its octet complete, right? But the other atom, right, is not stable. Okay, it doesn't have octet configuration. So A will give its electron, specifically lone pair, to B. It will not give completely, right? It will just share. Means B will share A's electron, but A won't share B's electron. Okay, then it's your covariant coordinate bond. If second case, A is having physics chemistry but don't have maths, and B is having maths and physics but don't have chemistry. So in this case, both will share one book with each other. That's your covalent bond. In third case, if A is having two maths book extra, so it have tendency to give one math book to B, right? Okay, now that is your ionic bond. See, not noble gas. Okay, it is not about noble gas, it is about lone pair, availability of lone pair. Okay, I'll give you one more example. So this is Cl minus, by the way. This is Cl minus. Someone is saying that it is Cl, no, it is Cl minus. I'm talking about this nitrogen. So when we talk about nitrogen, I told you, right? Nitrogen, the configuration of nitrogen is 2s2 2p1. Sorry, the configuration of nitrogen is 2s2 2p3. Okay, so 2s2 2p3. Got this? See this, understand this very clearly. Now nitrogen, does nitrogen have vacant 3d atomic orbital? Tell me this. Nitrogen have vacant 3d atomic orbital? No, right? है ना? So because it's second pair only, okay, it will have only p subshell, it won't have d subshell, right? Now number of covalent bond depends on number of unpaired electron, because obviously if you share electron you should have unpaired electron now. So nitrogen can form 3 bonds in this case. So suppose you have NO3 minus, NO3 minus. So nitrogen, you can say O, 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 right? But negative charge is only 1, which will be given on O. Negative charge will usually be given on high electronegative atom. Now, but this O, right, is having only one bond. Now, whenever you draw a structure, the octet of surrounding atoms should be complete first. The octet of surrounding atoms should be completed first. That is the concept, right? So octet of oxygen should be fulfilled first. So एक negative charge यहाँ O पे आ गया, O minus हो गया. So octet of this oxygen is complete because of this one electron, right? And one sharing. Oxygen needed 2 electron, right? One it got from this negative charge and one from sharing of electron from nitrogen. So this is complete, this octet is complete. But when we talk about this oxygen, only one bond, so obviously it's not complete, so it will form 2 bonds, right? Okay, so end bond O. What about this oxygen then? Because nitrogen already formed 3 bonds and nitrogen only formed 3 bonds. Okay, so what will happen is nitrogen is having this lone pair, है ना? 2s2, this is your lone pair. So nitrogen is having one lone pair. Okay, and oxygen need 2 electron. So nitrogen will give its one lone pair to oxygen. It won't share, it will give, right? Still that lone pair belongs to nitrogen. So this this lone pair will belongs to both nitrogen and oxygen. Okay, got this? Anyone? Anyone have any doubt? Samya, got this? Pranjal, you understood? Everyone got this? What is coordinate bond? When it is formed? It is exchange of only lone pair. Lone pair exchange is सिर्फ. Okay, means the other atom should be electron deficient and need 2 electron. Okay, so it should have 6 electrons in its outermost orbit. Okay, got this? Any issue in that? So just देखो BF4 minus सेम चीज है, ठीक है, जैसे AlCl3 and Cl minus, Cl minus. So Al को 2 इलेक्ट्रॉन चाहिए, है ना, Al को 2 इलेक्ट्रॉन चाहिए and Cl minus is already fulfilled, so it will have one lone pair. See Cl, right? Confusion क्या होता है? 2s2 2p5, but after gaining one electron it will be 2p6, right? So it will have 4 lone pair. Paired group of electron is called as lone pair. यहाँ पे क्या है? ये भी paired है, ये भी paired है, ये भी paired है, ये भी paired है. It's lone pair. Paired group of electron in an atomic orbital is called as lone pair. जैसे ऑक्सीजन का देखो, ऑक्सीजन का क्या होता है? ऑक्सीजन के पास 8 electrons, 1s2 2s2 2p4. So first orbit छोड़ दो, second orbit की बात करेंगे, outermost orbit, right? So it is 2s2 2p4, right? So it will be like this. Now tell me, how many lone pair and how many unpaired electrons? Tell me. Samya, Preetam, tell me, how many lone pair, how many unpaired electrons in oxygen? Samya, Karishma, anyone? Okay, Anjali, very good. Karishma, check your answer, right? Samya, yes, very good. And lone pair? Very good, right? So you can say that यहाँ पे 2 lone pair, ये 2s2 वाला एक lone pair and this lone pair, 2 lone pair and 2 unpaired electrons. So if I'll ask that how many covalent bond can be formed, how many covalent bond can be formed? Tell me. 2 only ना, unpaired electron से ही covalent bond form होता है. So 2 unpaired electron means 2 covalent bond, 4 unpaired electron means 4 covalent bond. जितने unpaired electron होंगे उतने covalent bond बनेंगे, ठीक है? Got this? Okay. So this was octet rule जो मैं अभी बता रहा था, ठीक है? सेंट्रल एटम को फिक्स रखना है, आपस वाले का ऑक्टेट कंप्लीट करना है, ठीक है? राइट नाउ कुछ क्वेश्चंस होंगे, ठीक है? वो मैं एक लिस्ट दे दूंगा स्ट्रक्चर बनाने के लिए. मैं कुछ स्ट्रक्चर बना के भी दिखा दे रहा हूं. जैसे हम लोग पढ़ते हैं H2S2 H2S2O7 का, राइट है ना? H2S2O7, राइट? या H2SO4, H2 SO4, राइट। नाउ यहाँ पे H2SO4 है, तो सबसे पहले जो इश्यू आता है, that which atom is your central atom. So atom which is less in number, right? Note it down. Less in number, having more valence electron. Less in number, having more valence electron is your central atom. So यहाँ पे कौन सा है? Sulfur. Sulfur is your central atom. हो गया. Now, whenever you have hydrogen and oxygen, right? Hydrogen should be attached with oxygen. Okay, rule होता है. But दोनों होना चाहिए. Hydrogen oxygen दोनों चाहिए. Right? And whenever you start drawing any structure, right? Single bond से बनाना पहले. So we have 4 oxygen. So obviously all of them will be attached with oxygen. Okay, right? Now we have 2 hydrogen. Now just attach hydrogen with oxygen anywhere, right? So this oxygen will have 2 bond, octet complete. This oxygen will have 2 bond, octet complete. But this oxygen doesn't have 2 bond, only 1 bond. So it will have 1 double bond. And this oxygen will also have 1 double bond, right? So all the surrounding atoms have the octet complete. But what about sulfur, right? What about sulfur? So when we talk about sulfur, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, right? Now, sorry, 3p6 नहीं होगा, 3p4, 3p4, है ना? Sulfur is 16, right? Sorry. Yes. So 3s2, 3p4 will look like something like this. So technically, right, sulfur should form how many bonds? Tell me this. Sulfur should form how many bonds? 2, right? But here it is forming how many bonds? 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1. 6 bonds. Okay. How come? So see this. That's the concept of excited state. Okay. Why? See, it will have vacant 3D atomic orbital. Vacant 3D atomic orbital. Okay. So we have vacant 3D. So the electron, the paired electron of S and P will unpair, right, and excite and go to D atomic orbital. Now, how many unpaired electrons do we have? 1 plus 3, 4 plus 2, 6. Got it? Now this is called as excited state. This is called as excited state, and it happens, right, with elements of third and below period, not of second period, because they don't have 3D atomic orbital. Got this? Now when you talk about sulfur, you will find that sulfur will have 12 electrons instead of 8 electrons, because 6 bonds, each bond is shared with 2 electrons. So 6 bond means 12 electrons. Okay, so sulfur will have 12 electrons. Okay, but in order to complete octet, you should have only 8 electrons. So this is an example of expansion. Okay, so that's the demerit of octet rule. Okay, it cannot explain expansion of octet. Okay, now coordinate bond is only formed, right, by second period elements. ठीक है, वो ध्यान देना. It got excited to 3D only. See, because when electron will get excited, right, it will go to same orbit. Okay, थर्ड ऑर्बिट का है ना, 4s तो है ही नहीं इसके पास, फोर्थ ऑर्बिट का होता तब पॉसिबिलिटी आती ना, राइट? गॉट दिस? ओके, so till today we will complete till this topic. No homework as such. I will just give you to draw some figure, right? Some structures. That's it. Your homework is watch the video of 4.1 and 4.2. Watch the video of 4.1 and 4.2. Okay. So Pranjal, Oves, your concept got cleared? Because when we talk about third orbit, yes, it's gone, right? I'm just wrapping up with the class. Okay. So when you talk about third orbit, there's no 4s. Okay. Okay. So since class was till 12:30, we just have to leave. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I hope you understood. No need to do any homework. Complete periodic properties from NCERT and Exemplar, right? And watch the video 4.1 and 4.2. Okay, right? Okay, thank you, everyone. Bye.